Picking up where we left off, we defeated the fairy gym, and now it's time to head to Sirchester. But not before facing off against Hop once again. He sends out his Trevenant, and we try to do our setup shenanigans once again. We managed to one-hit KO the Trevenant, and we're on to his Bolton. The Bolton gets us low here, but we managed to survive, no problem. However, things quickly go awry as soon as he sends out his Snorlax. We quickly go for the Roost here, and the Snorlax's Body Slam paralyzes us. And pretty much here we're caught in a losing battle as we are effectively walled out by his Snorlax. It really doesn't help that Hop uses a Hyper Potion as well. We run it back with Hop, but unfortunately things don't go our way this time either. We try a variety of strats here, but unfortunately paralysis is a common occurrence. It's clear that in order to win this match, we need to avoid being paralyzed at all costs. I've tried using berries to alleviate the fact that we will probably be paralyzed, but unfortunately that makes us way too squishy, so we have to abandon that strategy. After what felt like 100 attempts, we do manage to get a single battle where we don't get paralyzed, and we end up sweeping no problem. After defeating Hop, we managed to make it to Sirchester with very little problems. And with all that, we managed to make it to the Sirchester gym. On my first playthrough, I was extremely frustrated with this gym mission, but now that I'm a little bit more patient, it's not too big of a deal. Before we battle Gordy, let's take a look at HootHoot stats. They're just pitiful. We're at a clear disadvantage in this battle, as Gordy uses rock types, which are super effective against flying types. He sends out his Barbarnacle, which as we'll see can set up using his Shell Smash. This move greatly increases its speed and attack, so we do need to be very careful. We successfully put it to sleep with Hypnosis, and we try to set up once again. Unfortunately, this run we don't get the best RNG and we lose pretty handedly. We run it back, and this time Hypnosis misses turn 1 once again. We should also keep in mind that Rock Tomb lowers our speed, which greatly increases our chances of taking damage in this battle and pretty much is a death sentence. And of course we lose countless times after this. But eventually we get a very good run with some decent RNG. We're able to put the Barbarnacle to sleep turn 1. And we're also able to pull off our setup shenanigans. His Barbarnacle is becoming too much of a threat, and we knock it out. Shuckle isn't really much of a threat, so we continue to try to put it to sleep and set up once again. We're easily able to knock out the Shuckle and the Stonjourner, no problem. Now it's time to face off against his Colossal, and we immediately Dynamax to match his Dynamax. And it's here where we begin to see that we make a critical mistake. I completely forgot that Fairy type moves are not very effective against Fire Pokemon, and we pretty much throw this match due to a tactical error. With that being said, we revise our strategy and we come back stronger and better. We replace Moonblast with Stored Powered, and it pretty much ends up the same as last time. We managed to get past his Barnacle and his other Pokemon no problem. We do manage to eat a Rock Tomb, however we're still faster than most of his Pokemon. I should also mention that this time around we also set up more on the Shuckle instead of the Barnacle, primarily because Shuckle is less of a threat than Barnacle. As I mentioned before, we did manage to get our speed lowered, and unfortunately Stonejourner is a little bit quicker than us. However, he uses Wonder Room, which reverses the move order, and we're able to outspeed his Pokemon. We face off against Colossal once again, and we immediately Dynamax to match his Dynamax. I was initially worried that Max Mindstorm didn't take out Colossal in one hit, and Colossal also uses a Max Rock move. However, because we set up so much with Calm Mind, we're able to survive it, and that leads us to us winning the fight. With the Rock Badge secured, it's time to head on over to Spikemuth. But not before we have another battle with Hop. This time around he's not much of a threat, and we managed to do our normal setup shenanigans in order to win the fight. I will say it's kind of interesting in how his team just completely changes with each and every fight. Maybe I'm praising Game Freak a little too much here, but I think thematically it makes a lot of sense. Anyways, it doesn't really matter that much as we pretty much sweep his entire team, including the Snorlax. The only Pokemon that he has that doesn't get one hit KO'd is his Corvisquire for obvious reasons. He also uses a Hyper Potion, and our health is kind of dwindling down, especially with the Hail. But I was more than confident that we were going to win this fight anyways. Now we have another battle with Marnie on the outskirts of Spikemuth, and we continue to try to use our setup shenanigans. We're going to actually skip some footage here because it just takes a while before I begin to go on the offense. Anyways, we knock out the Liepard and we're onto her Morpeko. For some reason I used Calm Mind, either because I was tormented earlier, which does not allow me to use the same move twice, and one way or another we effectively lose this match. We run it back with Marnie, and this time it goes smoothly. The Morpeko does torment us, but we're still able to get off the Air Slash, and we also have Stored Power as a backup attack move. With Marnie out of the way, it's time to challenge her older brother in the Dark Gym. We actually don't have too much of a type advantage here, although he does have a Scrafty. Here we try to do our standard setup shenanigans, and unfortunately it doesn't work out too well for us. Scrafty deals too much damage to ignore, so I try to Hypnosis it, and unfortunately it misses, and from there it's just a snowball victory for him. We do manage to get past the Scrafty, however we've taken way too much damage at this point, and our damage is way too low. We do manage to get past his Malamar, no problem too. But I wasn't too confident that we would get past his Obstagoon without a Hypnosis, and unfortunately Hypnosis misses. After being defeated, we decide to revise our strategy and try again. So we were able to replace Calm Mind with Nasty Plot this time around. And instead of using Hypnosis on Scrafty, we decide to take 2 hits to set up 2 Nasty Plots. With a 3x special attack multiplier, we're able to knock out Scrafty no problem. We end up knocking out the Malamar in 1 hit. And now we're on to his Obstagoon. He stalls us out with Obstruct for a little bit, and we're not able to take him out with 1 hit. We actually get super low here, but we're still able to take out the Obstagoon. Next up, we're on to his last Pokemon, a Skuntank. For some reason, Piers announces that Skuntank has Sucker Punch, so I immediately use Hypnosis. Fearing that I couldn't one-shot it, I decided to use Nasty Plot before finishing it off. Luckily, that manages to be the right move, as his Skuntank was originally planning on using Sucker Punch, and it wakes up just that turn. We managed to knock out Skuntank, and we secure our Dark Badge. And with all that being done, it's time to head off to Hammerlock. The Dragon Gym mission doesn't prove to be much of a challenge, it's more of a primer into double battles. And it's here that we challenge Raihan, the Dragon Gym leader. I can already tell that I'm going to dread this fight and there's going to be multiple attempts, simply because we are relying on using 1 Pokemon in a doubles battle. This first battle doesn't go well for a lot of reasons. For starters, we miss our first Hypnosis, and we just don't have the right strategy, as we definitely need to set up before we take down these Pokemon. And just like that, we get humiliated on our first attempt, and we run it back a couple 100 times with absolutely no success. We decided to use some XP candies in order to level the playing field a bit, and we try again when we reach level 90. We have a little bit more of a piece together strategy this time around, as we Hypnosis the Gigalith instead of the Flygon, and we decide to tank the Flygon's hits in order to set up. And we also pick up Moonblast, which is super effective against this Flygon. A boosted Moonblast is more than enough to take out the Flygon. And we Hypnosis the Sandaconda because it likes to use Glare, which paralyzes our Pokemon. Unfortunately, Gigalith is the main threat here, and it wakes up and Rock blasts us to death. At this point, I'm beyond frustration, as I decide to EV train my Pokemon a little bit and let it hit level 100. But after pulling out all the stops, are we going to be able to beat Raihan? Unfortunately, even with a level 100 HootHoot, we still have to rely on RNG here. Oh, and by the way, I turned off battle animations during the grinding, and unfortunately I didn't turn it back on for these next attempts. This time we use a slight variation on the strategy that we used last time. Instead of focusing down the Flygon, we decide to take out the Gigalith instead, and we use Dream Eater to basically sustain ourselves. And again, we use Hypnosis on Sandaconda so that he doesn't glare us. From there, we decide to take out the Flygon with our Moonblast. And he sends out his Duraludon. Yet again, we Dynamax to match his Dynamax. And yet again, I say my favorite line. Although Max Starfall hits neutral on Duraludon, we still manage to take it out with 1 hit. Now all that's left is a sleeping Sandaconda, which we take out with another Max Starfall. And with all that being said, we win the match and we are able to collect the last and final gym badge. With all the badges in our possession, it's time for the big Shonen Battle Tournament arc, which we'll save for next time. The final episode should come out within a couple of days. Sorry this episode came out a little bit later than I anticipated. And as always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to Dynamax that like button to match my Dynamaxed efforts.